Welcome to the Love, Sex and Freedom podcast. This is where you're going to discover how to bring awakening into the body and into everyday life through powerful tantric teachings. Get ready to release, open and step into your true power.
And I could have gone through the whole process as a physical thing. Oh, I've got inflammation and leaky gut and this and this and this because of this and this and this. I really don't think anything would have shifted if I just dealt with the physical. When I was cleansing my liver, I was feeling not just my rage, but all of my ancestors. When I was having clonics, I was purging all of the trapped no's in my body. And I've been expressing my trapped no for more than 15 years now. And I still got more no's. When you've been raped, when you've been enmeshed with, when you've been emotionally abused, there is a lot in there. And it is hard to feel helpless. It is hard to feel sensitive. So you got to intentionally go to the places that are difficult. If you have associations with anger, that anger's dangerous, you need to intentionally go into your anger. Whatever your edge is actually the reclaiming of the dignity of your humanness being divine. I had to learn that I had a right to feel. I had a right to say no. I had a right to tune into me more than I tune into others. I was always walking on eggshells as a child, trying not to upset my mum. When life isn't safe, you need to protect, right? But it's no way to live. So that was a period of time for me of releasing protection, of de-armoring the liver, de-armoring the heart, de-armoring the jaw, de-armoring the throat, expressing, releasing with the physical, the emotional, the pathological, the energetic, the shamanic are all connected. You know, a lot of you, when you were reflecting the training, which I was so fucking happy about, in some way talked about synthesis and how it brings everything together, because that's my biggest passion. I don't think any one thing is the answer to anything. That's why I didn't surrender to any tradition until I found Tantra, because Tantra says yes to fucking all of it. There is no modality that can't fit within life. Tantra is life. It's not a doctrine. It's not a creed. It doesn't give you rules. It's like, I remember when I was in India, I was at this cool place with mountain views. I can't remember what it was called. And there was this guy and he was like drinking a beer. And the other guy, I like listening to people's conversations whenever I can. I'm very interested in conversations that interesting people have. And so I'm listening. They were going back and forth about a woman. I was having a little chuckle. And then he's like, man, you're drinking beer. He's like, Tantra. It just cracked me up. I'm like, yeah, have a fucking beer. Have a fucking joint every now and then. Have a wine, whatever. Just don't dissociate with it. Don't distract with it. If you need anything for your magic, for your healing, to drop into your body, find what it is about that supports what you need and cultivate that within you. If you need a man, what is it about him that you need? Cultivate that within you. If you need a woman, it's okay to want external love, of course. I think it's why we've incarnated. Why else would we choose this fucking crazy life with all the bullshit, you know? It's to experience the miracle of being human, which is two bodies coming together, merging and creating this. What bigger miracle? She fucking was in my womb and now she's here. What sort of crazy shit is that? And mine and Scott's love brought her here. And our merging together brought her here. That's beautiful. And I always, at every process, any process that I do with Scott, at the end of it, I always remember that he was the pillar that I was holding on to in both of my children's home births, there, fully present with me while I roared and caught them. And he always catches them in the end, and catches me. And part of this is always remembering the innocence of everyone, because everything that anyone goes through that is part of this human experience is the sum of who they are and why they can or can't show up. And, you know, I've been very blessed to have a father who introduced me to a lot of ways that I could be myself and listen to myself. And not many people have had that. So whatever you've had that's special, whatever you've had that's extra, that makes you assume that other people are just going to know that. You know, it's been a journey for me of not assuming that people have the same capacity as you, because we're all different. We've had different past lives. We've had different, it all starts in utero. And if you believe in past lives before that, we have so much here, so much in ourselves that requires a deep purging, releasing, freeing. None of your symptoms are the answer. None of your symptoms. Got to go to the root cause. Got to check it out. Got to let the liver express, the belly express, the womb, the hara, the heart, the shoulder. You get a client with something that's tense. What's underneath that? Since I started Tantra, all my symptoms just started disappearing one by one. And you know, if I look at photos, I'm so inflamed. I didn't even know that then. I can see it in my face, I can see it in my body, my eyes, they don't have the same spark. And then, you know, when I was separated from the kids, it was too much to feel, and I was definitely dissociating. First through work, then I realised I was doing that. So then I thought I'd just go hard at the sauna and cold plunge every day, like sauna and cold plunging like a fucking mad woman. And each time I got a rejection letter from Australia, I didn't give a fuck who was around. It just reminded me one time I cold plunged, saunaed, I was in the foyer, checked my phone, I'm like, I probably shouldn't check this here, couldn't resist, opened the email, another rejection, I just flipped out. I didn't give a fuck who was watching me. I just absolutely flipped out. Raged, cried, had people coming up to me who didn't even know me, just a circle ended up forming around me. And you need your brothers, you need your sisters at tricky times. This human experience can be really tricky. And not knowing if I'm going to see my kids again was too much, so I dissociated. And that's when all the constipation went just next level and I couldn't shit, literally for 6 months. And that I had to kind of unwind. It had been about 6 months before that I was, I don't know how long, a while of just needing to dissociate from the pain of not knowing if I'm going to see them again. It's when the world was crazy. I didn't even know if borders were ever going to open. It was too much for me to feel. And actually, dissociation isn't a bad thing. It's a survival mechanism. But then we need to welcome the parts of us here that we're not willing to feel so we can return to the body. Right? Dissociation isn't the problem, our inability to feel, the numbing. And you know, it's one of the misunderstandings of a lot of coaches, a lot of healers, is that there's only two states in the nervous system, regulated or unregulated. And that unregulated is adrenaline, There's 3 states in the nervous system. Regulated, which is when there's healthy adrenaline, right? That's being used to be determined, to release, to feel, to... It's the... There's parasympathetic, right? So sympathetic, adrenaline, parasympathetic, rest, digest, receive. So parasympathetic, one nervous system state. Another one is freeze, collapse, numb, dissociation. Parasympathetic, still fucked up. People think, oh, you know, it's so annoying when I hear people say, oh my God, I just need to regulate my nervous system and go into parasympathetic. I'm like, are you for fucking real? We live in a world with sympathetic and parasympathetic. If the only way you can feel safe is to be in the part of the parasympathetic that's in rest and digest, trust me, you're going to have the biggest fucking dissociative shadow and freeze response that you can imagine, because that's not life. You're denying a whole part of the human experience. Then we have the other state, which is overcompensation, too much adrenaline, unhealthy sympathetic, fight, lash. And then the biggest shadow of that is the inability to receive and rest. And we burn out, and both lead to sickness in the body. I don't know anyone who can't be fluid between the 3 states, can't be with all of that, who's healthy. And I can honestly say, not because I'm superior, but just because I practice what I preach, chiropractors are in awe when they see my back. They're just like, you almost have a perfect, like, other than just being a human who's done life, your spine is pretty much perfect. And when body workers work with me, it is so easy to work with you because there's just no resistance in your body. And that's because of how much express and release I've done. Like, my cells have regenerated. They're not holding on. And then when something comes in and there's anything old that needs to be released, it does, but most of it is up to date. I don't have a backlog that's stuck and causing pain in my body. Your own listening to your body is the best doctor that you will ever find. You're going to be going to the chiropractor, physio, tantra teacher, whatever, for the rest of your life until you realize that there is an inbuilt healing mechanism in the body, a homeostasis that the body knows. We are a healthy state that the body knows and can return to. When you place your attention on that instead of on the symptoms and dissociating from the symptoms or fixing the symptoms. And same with your clients. You are teaching them to trust their own body. You're not doing anything. Yes, the practices are going to support you that are in the manual and the techniques, but at the end of the day, your unconditional loving presence that needs nothing other than the radical aliveness of this human that you're curious about seeing. It's not about you. It's not about how good you are. It's not about how you show up. It's not about you taking a stand and, right, I'm claiming myself as a practitioner. I know this. I know that. Wisest is she. And he who knows he knows fucking nothing. We don't know shit. But the body. So the part of your intuition that hasn't been on it, that's what you want to reclaim. The part of any part of you that hasn't been seen. And in the process of becoming more cultivated in that capacity to be fully present with what is in your own life and with your clients, there will be a magic that happens that you couldn't possibly put into words.
Thanks for listening to the Love, Sex and Freedom podcast. For more great free resources, in-person and online workshops, and our retreats, find us on Instagram and Facebook at Embodied Awakening Academy or visit embodiedawakeningacademy.com.